when I say I've been a publicist for 15, 17 years, it's not to brag. It's just to say, baby, we're good over here. We're good over here. No bullshit, y'all. I went to the bar 2-3 weeks ago. And I wasn't at the bar. I was at a bar, but I was going to have lunch. I wasn't going to have a drink. A guy comes. He was like, I've seen you before. Patrice, CAMPspace. Threw me off a little bit now. So you're a creep. But he lives in the area. He knows content. We get to talking. He does funding, small business funding for, I believe, Wells Fargo. Whole nother conversation. But then he knew a lot of the people that I did PR for in the very beginning. He went to school with Mitch Mathis. Mitch Mathis, if you are age, DT Nation, that was my first PR client. When I was at Ketchum, I said to Mitch, let me do your PR. I got him in the Washington Post. So this guy knew him. So like, it's like nowadays, because I know somebody that was on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. I know somebody that's on that list right now, and I'm not going to say her name. She's from here. I hired her because I was blown away with her social. Hired her for 3 things. She had to refund me for 2 because her shit was not fucking together. And I'm sorry I'm cursing. It was not together. I'm like, I'm sorry. I paid for this. Where is it? Like, hi. And I'm still seeing her. Forbes 30 for 30. Da 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 da. Bro, you couldn't even do my little stuff. But that's what we up against.
For sure.
Whether you 26 or you 46. That's what solid people like the people in this room are up against. And so when I say things like you got to keep going,
for sure, you
got to really stay tapped in and stay true, because baby, cream gonna always rise to the top.
For sure.
Hey you, welcome to Shades of Content, a show that teaches entrepreneurs how to effectively use content to market their business and stay content while doing it. I'm your host, Patrice, a wife, a mom of 3, and a 15-year public relations and marketing professional who decided to open a brick and mortar content studio 4 years ago. And I honestly haven't looked back since. Join me as I share my experiences and the experiences of other entrepreneurs who, like me, are navigating this maze of owning a business, running a family, and trying to stay sane and healthy while doing it. I'll tell you, it's an amazingly challenging journey, but I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. See you soon. Hey there. So listen, I believe that we all have things within us that should be shared. The issue, however, is often not having a place to bring those things to life. Well, you know, y'all girl got the answer for that, and it's CAMPspace, which is a private, secure, beautifully decorated studio that was built just for you to create dope content and amazing branding for your business. CAMPspace is located just 5 minutes from Washington, D.C., and it comes with a ton of natural light, a podcast studio, cool decor, a full kitchen, a luxury bathroom, a backyard, like legit everything you need. It's a content creator's dream. So whether you're a business owner, whether you're a photographer, a podcaster, blogger, videographer, artist, marketer, you can do it all at CAMPspace. Trust me, this building was created with you in mind. So tap the link in the show notes to book your content shoot, your workshop, your film production, your podcast interview, whatever, at CAMPspace, and use the code SHADES to get a special discount. Again, tap the link in the show notes to book your next shoot at CAMPspace and use the code SHADES, that's SHADES, as your coupon code to save 15% off your next booking. I legit cannot wait to see what you create. We're back. We're going to have Jabari Jefferson. He is on the mic. Before you do that, though, every episode I'd be like, welcome to Shades of Content. I'm your host, Patrice. We 40 minutes late with this one, but it's all good. I'm your host, Patrice Camo. I'm a Black millennial mompreneur, and I own CAMPspace, which is a content studio where people create all the marketing for their business. I also host this podcast, and this podcast teaches my fellow Black millennial mompreneur peers how to create content to market their business, but also how to stay content while doing it. Because when you wear all the hats that I wear and how the hats that my peers wear, shit gets thick. So we're here. Welcome back. We're celebrating and recording the 100th episode. Insert clap track. And I have a studio audience here. I didn't plan out this episode, really. I've really just been kind of ranting and talking and just, getting some things off my chest. But one of the people that are here is Jabari.
Yo, what's going on? Hey,
so
Patrice.
it's so nice to see you behind the mic, Jabari, because usually you're behind the camera. Jabari has recorded some of probably your favorite Shades of Content episodes. Uber talented videographer,
Appreciate that.
Storyteller, director, straight out of DC.
For sure. Yes.
I wanted to, so we talked about a lot.
Yes. And
yes. I am interested to know, was there anything you wanted to say to introduce yourself? Did I miss anything?
Oh, no, I think that was a good introduction.
Your girl. It's giving young Oprah. So we were talking earlier about before the commercial break. We were talking about just kind of the new world that we're living in.
For sure, I definitely resonate with a lot that you've said. Your start and a lot of the conversations that were had now. Like I really resonate with it.
Tell me how you became a videographer.
Okay. Long story short, I've always tinkered with technology, cameras. It was always a thing that was in my household, in my community. I actually had a relative, my aunt, who did music production. And as a kid, I would always go to her house. She had like a home studio. She used like Fruity Loops and all that stuff. So I would always kind of like, just watch and observe. And after a while, she would let me tinker with the cameras. And really, it wasn't nothing, too serious. It was just like, it's a cool camera or whatever. And it was one day where she went to UDC. So she had to do a project at UDC where they needed to film like a video about like the financial aid offers or something like that. Honestly, I don't remember what the actual video was about. So I did it, and first and foremost, it was an honor for her to like want me to do something like that because I'm like in high school at the time, and I'm like, okay, you're giving me this camera, okay, I'll just do my best. And I really did, and I really put pride in it, and I really communicated with her as far as what the vision was. And lo and behold, I was able to provide her with that video. And then she told me, she was like, yeah, like I got a standing ovation, even though she probably was kind of like, hyping me up. But she was like, yeah, like they loved it. And they wanted me to, they wanted to watch the video again. Like wow. She was like, you should definitely, pursue this as a career. And like, I didn't really have any formal training at the time. I was in high school, I think Vine was probably popular then. I don't think there were too many like YouTubers per se. So it wasn't like something that was like normalized as how it is now. And even when I told like my friends and family about it, they weren't like too wild about it. They were like, okay, cool. And and then that's pretty much where I got my start. I just kept at it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Like I said, you guys, being professional is like really important to me. And even if you're a friend of mine, I try to do things professionally, right? Like, you know what? Yeah, we talked about it on text, but let me send you an email so we can have it all on paper. Where's the contract? And that's just something I think that comes with age. But, Jabari, I have no problem referring you to any and everybody.
Appreciate that.
Because you're just great. Like,
I appreciate that.
People are they're in great hands with you.
Appreciate that.
So I want to go back to this conversation of when we talk about like being content and peaceful happiness.
Yeah.
Can you be content as a 20-something-year-old in today's society?
That's a great question. I think it's something that it takes like, active mindfulness to get to that point. I mean, there's a lot of distractions. You have comparison, you have, just economic, challenges, you have, environmental challenges that affect, let's say like a young creative, what I'm saying? So I think that it just really takes a lot of mindfulness and just, a lot of self-work, what I'm saying? Like really knowing myself. So I just made a post on Instagram right now, today, where I discussed like 3 emotions that affect so many creatives. Those 3 emotions happen to be fear, scarcity, and desperation. You know what I'm saying? Those are 3 things that I myself.
That's real.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, you got the snaps in the back.
That part.
Yeah, so like I actually had someone, I attend therapy. My therapist actually brought that to my attention, and based on like what I was telling her, and this was like I want to say during the pandemic where I really like felt that I hit rock bottom. You know, I definitely questioned myself. I definitely, you know, second guessed myself. I really thought it was a wrap, to be honest. I'm like, we in the house, nobody trying, you know, hire me to film right now. And that's what actually like prompted me to go to therapy, to talk to somebody, to give me, you know, some sort of, you know, guidance during these, you know, these murky waters. You know, it was really messed up for a lot of us. So, you know, by me doing that work, and then talking to my therapist, who was a Black woman, you know, she definitely, you know, pointed out that I was moving wrong. Like I was moving off of fear, desperation, and scarcity. And I'll break it down. So, you know, fear, right? So a common thing amongst, you know, creators or just anybody, like the fear of like, yo, like if I turn this gig down, like I might not know when my next gig is going to come. Or if I like try to appease someone that breached my boundary, you know, hitting me up after hours. You know, that's one thing I was talking to, you know, with some of my friends here, you know, today, you know, just talking about, you know, just setting those boundaries as a creative. A lot of us aren't taught that, you know what I'm saying? These are things that we learn through trial and error, or just having conversations with other established creatives. But that's the caveat, because it's hard sometimes to talk to established creators, whether it's like intimidation, like, oh man, they'll never respond to me. Or maybe like for me, like I've been burnt sometimes, you know, burnt as far as like trying to I'll clarify. Let me clarify. I've been, all right, maybe burnt wasn't the right word choice, but I've been jaded by the experience of reaching out to people, you know, with that fear of being like played, right? Like somebody, you know, might string me along and try to, you know, paint that picture as if they're trying to support me, but really they're trying to exploit me or use me. So, but I didn't let that jade me though. I know that's the experience for, you know, some people, but I persevered, you know what I'm saying? So, so pretty much like get into the bottom of those emotions and just finding ways to cope and finding ways to like, you know, reprogram the way I think, you know, and I feel like that's the plight of most content creators. So when you ask me like, how do I, you know, aspire or work towards being content, I think it's really just like practicing mindfulness and really just like get into the root of why like certain things get to me or affect me, and then most importantly setting those boundaries. The
interesting thing is like the mind, we work every muscle but our mind, right? Like, and I had this conversation with my husband a lot because he, you know, he's 44 now, he old. But like, you know, that generation, like your generation, how old are you, Jabari?
I always have to think about it sometimes. I'm 26. September 8th, Virgo. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, very, very type A.
No. She said you love us.
Virgos. Yo.
Oh,
yeah, I'm the epitome of a Virgo.
Epitome.
Oh, no, toxicity.
Toxic king.
Okay. Oh my god.
You stupid. She said it feels like home.
Oh.
But like, you know, he says, therapy talk. And so I have to really make it an analogy for him. If your arm hurts, you go to a doctor. If your stomach hurts, you go to a doctor. The equivalent of your brain hurting is you feeling off.
For sure.
Why wouldn't you go to a doctor for that?
For sure.
And I believe that. And so then his rebuttal will be, it wasn't, people ain't have bipolar then. And I was like,
yeah,
they did.
For sure.
We just literally pushed them to the side. They was under the bridge. They were the uncle that don't talk to him. He went to the war.
For sure.
They existed back then too.
Yeah, it's real.
It was hidden. It was closeted because there were no safe spaces.
Or better yet, like, you know, you'll have like a relative say, "Oh, it's just, you know, you're grown. You know, it's like it's your nerves or something." Like it's just pray it away. It'll be good. You know what I'm saying? Like that we've been accustomed as, you know, as people of color, as Black folk, to, you know, to use these adages and these phrases to kind of like cope through our trauma. And like, you know, sweeping it under the rug. But it's time for us really to like, you know, and I feel like I appreciate how normalized therapy has been, you know, these days. And even like, you know, being an advocate for therapy, like I notice how like, you know what I'm saying, sometimes people got to see it. Like if they see like their homies or like their homegirls or whoever, they see that they're doing therapy and they can see the change, then that kind of in a way prompts them to say, you know what, maybe I should check it out. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you, and like I said, I'm happy that we've evolved.
Yes, for sure.
I'm absolutely happy that we evolved. I think this conversation is in no way like a generation versus generation.
For sure.
I think one thing I appreciate about our generation is that we're like real, and it's like, yeah, no, that's not okay. Like, no, you don't know. You don't need anxiety pills. You need to get a fucking job, right? And you might have to work at Lidl. Okay, it might not be the glamorous thing. So I think my other question is, I think you hit on it a little bit when you talked about the 2020.
Yeah.
Like, how do you personally? Because when I look at you, you successful.
Oh,
like,
appreciate that. It means a lot to hear that.
And it ain't from. It's from like solid. Like, you're literally working with people who are great. You're working on government contracts. You do great work. Literally, you just had to get into posting on Instagram.
For sure. Like, I'm
right?
even like what I'm doing right now is out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
But I just feel like in my spirit, it's time to like tell my story. And I feel like the fact that, you know, I am relatable, a lot of people can identify themselves in me. You know, I think it's time for me to, you know, create my own, you know, shades of content, you know. And actually, you know, speaking of that, like I definitely, you know, I'm utilizing my social media platform to advocate for freelancers, advocate for, you know, creatives, because a lot of us don't have that guidance. Like a lot of us are getting, you know, secondhand information or getting information from people who honestly don't, you know,
they don't know what they doing.
They don't know what they're doing. So like, you know, I definitely want to shout out, you know, John Ledbetter of
shout out to
Sunchase.
John.
Yeah, Sunchase Media. I feel like when I met John, so John owns a video production company called Sunchase Media. It's based in the DMV area. And actually I met him, you know, through social media. And you know, the power of social media, right? You know, you meet a lot of great contacts with social media. I'm definitely a student of IG University. I love Instagram. Like I use it literally to like make money, to promote myself, empower other people. But I would say John Ledbetter was the first like black male, you know, business owner, creative that really like, you know, like gave me game, like real game, like that really changed my life. Like I met him in 2019, and I'm just not used to black men really just willing to just give me information. Like it's always like, well, you got to pay for this, or it's like gate kept. The information is gate kept. But John was like really like we would just talk for hours, like, and he would just give me information. He's like, yeah, this is how I set up my LLC, or you know, this is how I, you know, document, or this is how I film this. And really, I would say it wasn't even really more on the creative, because I would say when it came to the creative, I'm a very observant person. So like I started to kind of pick up on how he tells his stories. What I valued the most was the business information that he was able to give me. And I model a lot of my business off of how he runs his business. And it was just like a breath of fresh air, especially coming from like the other like quote unquote mentors that I had who weren't even half as, you know, supportive and willing to give me, you know, like that's valuable. And I want to do that. I want to be that for the next, you know, young person that's trying to get into this industry. And forget age, it could be anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that I had to like outgrow and learn. Like, anybody can, you know, make use of this information. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can make use, and we can learn from anybody. For sure. And you said a couple things there. John actually being in the industry. For sure. And actually, like, I know, because John would book here. His name, Ledbetter. You don't see that name often. So he would book camp all the time, and that's how you knew about the space. Yeah, for sure. But when I would finally see what he was doing, I'm like, oh, this man bringing the DC government, poet. Sure. So many people had come through camp from him, from his bookings. Sure. And so, like, this quality over quantity, because we're in a world where it's show and tell, show and tell, not work, show tell. Show tell. You ain't did shit. Hey guys, if you know that you are targeting the people that I talk to, these are mompreneurs, these are entrepreneurs, these are content creators, these are women, Black millennial moms who are owning their own businesses and using content to promote, and also want to figure out ways to stay content, then you need to talk. We need to get it together, all right? So if you're interested, go to www.shadesofcontent.com/sponsor. Again, that's www.shadesofcontent.com/sponsor. I would love to work with you. We have a host of very affordable, if I may say, partner packages. We can do
only audio. We can do audio and video. We can really customize packages that work the best to speak to your customer. So yeah, let's make this work. We got all of 2023 coming up, and I really want to use the platform to help other small businesses grow. So go to www.shadesofcontent.com/sponsor. I can't wait to work with you. There's also a link in the show notes.
Right. And so this is a clip. And so like when I say I've been a publicist for 15, 17 years, it's not to brag. It's just to say, baby, we're good over here. We're good over here. No bullshit, y'all. I went to the bar 2-3 weeks ago. And I wasn't at the bar. I was at a bar, but I was going to have lunch. I wasn't going to have a drink. A guy comes. He was like, I've seen you before. Patrice, CAMPspace. Threw me off a little bit now. So you creep. But he lives in the area. He knows content. We get to talking. He does funding, small business funding for, I believe, Wells Fargo. Whole nother conversation. But then he knew a lot of the people that I did PR for in the very beginning. He went to school with Mitch Mathis. Mitch Mathis, if you are age, DT Nation, that was my first PR client. When I was at Ketchum, I said to Mitch, let me do your PR. I got him in the Washington Post. So this guy knew him. So like, it's like nowadays, because I know somebody that was on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. I know somebody that's on that list right now, and I'm not going to say her name. She's from here. I hired her because I was blown away with her social. Hired her for 3 things. She had to refund me for 2 because her shit was not fucking together. And I'm sorry I'm cursing. It was not together. I'm like, I'm sorry. I paid for this. Where is it? Like, hi. And I'm still seeing her. Forbes 30 for 30. Da 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 da. Bro, you couldn't even do my little stuff. But that's what we up against.
For sure.
Whether you 26 or you 46. That's what solid people like the people in this room are up against. And so when I say things like you got to keep going. For sure. You got to really stay tapped in and stay true. Because baby, cream gonna always rise to the top.
For sure.
But I also don't believe we do it for that.
Yeah.
My thing is, let me just get this money. Let me sell. I'll sell this IP. I'll sell it to you quick. Sure. I don't got to be associated with none of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? What we doing? But in the meantime, you got to do the work to build it up. But you know, we're in that space. And ain't no middle. It's like either it's the people that's getting it done. Yeah. Or it's the people that's finessing it.
For real. For sure.
Right.
And I had to learn that quick too, because like, you know, like to that same point, like, you know, the cream will rise to the top, you know, everything that glitter and gold. Like I've definitely, you know, met, you know, I ain't gonna say no names either. You know, I've definitely met some folks in the city who I thought were doing stuff, right? Like, you know, because they're always promoting and, you know, showing, you know, showcasing like, you know, what they're doing on social media. And then when I actually meet them, I'm learning that they have poor communication skills.
Yes. They can't respond to an email.
They can't respond to an email, or just basic soft skills that, like, you know, I love soft skills. What I'm saying? I love soft skills too. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I love
You've been here before. He's honestly 42 in a 26-year-old body.
I got an old soul for sure. Yeah. But like little things like that. And I'm like, yo, like you're in these positions, you know, like it was something, it was like a recent project that I did where I was working with someone who, you know, of status. She was like this person was a marketing strategist for a big company. And I'm looking to her for guidance because she's hiring me for the production, you know, she's directing, and she's like asking me for help. Like, how do I do this? I'm like, aren't you supposed to know how to do this? Right. But I just had to, like, you know, pack my patience and really, you know, definitely stand my ground and be, you know, set boundaries and just remember why I was there. Yep. And as a courtesy, I always, you know, I don't mind, you know, just helping people. And, you know what I'm saying? If like, I'm willing to make that sacrifice, you know, in order for the production to stay afloat. Like, I'm willing to do that. But it was just certain things I'm just like, yo, like this could have been an email, or this could have been something we could have talked about, you know, a month ago when I first heard about the project. Like, why are we, you know, figuring this out on set? Better yet, like, why are we scope creeping? Like, why are you asking for more stuff on set?
Scope creep.
Scope creep. Oh my God.
Never heard that term before.
Yeah, scope creep. Yeah.
I like that.
Oh my God.
You asking all these little questions, trying to find.
Yeah, and
Scope creep.
and I think it just boils down to like indecision. There's a lot of people who just don't know what they want.
Yep.
Like there's certain aesthetics and certain vibes and energies that are really popular in vogue right now, and people want that, but they just don't know how to get there. So they're like, I want that look, I want that,
right.
But it's like you don't understand what it takes to deliver that. They think it's like, oh well, I'm hiring you, Jabari, you should just know how to do it. I'm like, well, it takes prep. Like, you're hiring me to camera op. you're not hiring me to creative direct on
That's
set.
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
That
like
part.
if you wanted me to do that, then that would have been a service I would have, quoted you for, but here we are, right?
Here we are. I think, and not to take anybody from, I think there's a real beautiful art to be able to move along and move up without it. Like that, sure. I can't hate.
Yeah.
Just some people have to get out the mud. And I also, let me tell y'all this. In this new role as a director, there have been a couple, Danny has even had to say to me, you're the director, you decide. Like, and I'm just like, oh, because what I'm also realizing is actually none of us know what we're doing. None of us. And I'm owning it. I don't know shit. Okay. We all are just figuring it out. The head.
For sure.
There's sidebar. There's this movie with Bradley Cooper. Okay. He takes a pill called NZ-17. We watched it at the Salamander on Sunday. First of all, aside from him being fine, that movie, I wrote a quote. He was like, it's not a drug. It's like, I'm clear. I know exactly. I wanted the NZ-17. I wanted it because he said it, and I jotted it down because thank God for shout out to Steve Jobs. If you haven't read his book, you absolutely should. If you have not read that book, seriously. I wasn't high. I wasn't wired. I was clear. I knew what I needed to do and how to do it. He said that when he took the pill. If you haven't seen the movie, it's a pill. Who I forgot the name. Just put like Bradley Pooper brain. He takes a pill. Something like that. Yes, something like that. He takes the pill and it makes you really smart. It taps into your entire brain. We're only using what? Is he fine like Bradley?
He's a ginger. He's cute.
I love a ginger now.
I love me a ginger.
You too. Okay. Limitless. Yo, that movie was crazy. And I'm sitting here with my creative, like, I want it. Ron was like, no way. I'm like, bruh, grow up. Sure. But, when you, so I've kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's like, shout out to those who, because none of us know what we're doing. We're using this really small amount of this entire brain power. Yeah. And we're making decisions based off what we've done and what we see. And typically what we see is more than what we've done.
Can I be honest with you? I'm scared. Like when I do my business and when I'm having these conversations with people and advocating for my services, advocating for my crew, like that's a scary ass feeling. Like that the fear of like rejection, all these things that plague us, like these are human, feelings and emotions. But I think one thing about me is like I'm super courageous. Like even though I'm scared and, I might fear, like a client might say whatever they may say. Like I think what keeps me in the arena is like the fact that of course I want to win. Right. I want the people around me to win, but I just don't care. I'm just going to keep pushing, and I feel like that's what makes a lot of folks successful.
That's it.
In essence, like you got to be relentless, and just willing to like go the extra mile, and then you also got to think about the environment. A lot of us are around friends and family members who aren't they don't have the wherewithal to see what we see. A lot of us creatives, entrepreneurs, business owners, like we have to be visionaries first. We have to like imagine ourselves doing what we want to do. And even if we don't necessarily know what that looks like, at least having someone like John Ledbetter was that model for me. Like I saw that he was doing his thing. He had all the nice equipment. He was getting clients, he was in a position to like hire me and bring me on. And I'm like, you know what? I could see myself doing that. Mm-hmm. So since I put that, that programming in my brain, I started to like moved that way. And then like, lo and behold, doors started to open. I'm in certain rooms where I can advocate for myself and, sell myself and, market myself. And then it just started to grow over time, over time. And, it started to compound, like small gains, equate to like bigger rewards, so.
You hit 6 figures this year, right?
Yes.
That part.
I was able to make 6 figures.
Six.
And like, yeah, and like.
I made a little money sign in that thing. Bling, bling.
And like the first person, and then once I looked at my QuickBooks and I got that last, invoice.
Wait a minute. QuickBooks. Not Cash App.
Yeah.
Not Venmo. Yeah. Not Zelle.
Yeah.
QuickBooks. Because that is how you invoice your clients. And that is how Uncle Sam takes his money, because Uncle Sam gets his money.
For sure.
That is why
he don't play about his money.
Come on. That is how you're bookkeeping. That is how you're keeping track of your expenses.
For sure.
That is what real businesses are. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. A business account.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Invest in that. That's true.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Shout out to Belvedere Tax Group. They got me right. Congratulations to them. They just opened the office in Washington D.C. Yes, they're black owned. They're originally based in actually they have 2 offices. They have an office in Baltimore, and then they just moved to a location on Georgia Avenue, not that far from Silver Spring.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they get me right, and it's great. Like me personally, not to get off topic too much, but like that was one thing that I didn't want to like deal with, like taxes and what I'm saying. So like it was very helpful. I mean, obviously, I'm still gonna learn as I go. I'm not gonna just give my books to them and just let them do their thing. Like I definitely keep my own records and just making sure that I stay on them. You know what I'm saying? And just letting them know that this is something that I'm serious about and I want to learn. And I often meet with them, like once a month, and we have like, just different like conversations about like, where revenue's going and all that stuff. And, they kind of just put like little nuggets in my head that, to consider as I'm pushing forward. But I definitely advocate, using services like QuickBooks and if, folks are, fortunate or able to like, get a bookkeeper or an accountant, definitely do that ASAP.
I agree.
For sure.
I forgot what I was about to say, but anyway,
I could go on. I'm long-winded.
There's so many. I remember the alignment part. When you connect with someone and it just you said compound. Ooh, I like that. Such a good word.
For sure.
That only happens when you are on your path.
For sure.
And your path only comes from when you are literally falling in line with what is for you. And that might not be what's popular. That might not be what is going to get the likes. That might not be what your spouse or your best friend gets. You also said putting yourself around people that get it and understanding that as visionaries, people not going to get it. I've said this a couple times in the last week. I know exactly what I want my life to look like in 2 years. 3 years. So I'm going to let RJ graduate. I know exactly what that life looks like. And sometimes that's scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes when you know when you see it, then you start to think about what can no longer be. Because it's like, oh yeah, you're not going to work. That's not going to work. We can't do this. Because if you don't do what you need to do, you're not going to get there.
For sure.
And then all you can do is be mad at yourself.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. It's visionary. It's like, I see it. It's,
for sure. You got to see it. You got
to see it.
I know I thought it was always corny, hearing it in school. Like, you got to see it to believe it. But it's really true. Like, I honestly live by the power of manifestation. Like, literally everything that's happening is credited to manifestation. Like, anybody can tell you, that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, like they're like, yo, Jabari, like when he puts his mind to something, like he's gonna do it like relentlessly, nonstop. Like I definitely have that Virgo obsessive, nature about myself when it comes to things. Like I'll definitely learn how to like transmute it.
Shout out to Beyonce, a Virgo queen, a Virgo queen. Virgo's groove.
Shout out to Queen B. Shout out to Queen B. I'm gonna shoot a visual for
sing it for
Beyonce
you.
one day.
Yeah, that part.
Manifestation. But if I could just
Absolutely.
deviate just real quick, I definitely want to like as I mentioned earlier, I definitely want to be an advocate to creatives and fellow entrepreneurs. So like one thing that I actually want to like pursue is like just creating like a community. I don't know if it's like an exclusive community, but just a community where like we can talk shop. Like if there's someone that has a painting business and they they just want to feel like a safe place for them to just talk about their dreams and their passions. Like I definitely want to do that. I don't know if it's something that we do bi-weekly or once a month, but that's kind of like something that's been in my spirit as of lately.
I want you to do it.
For sure.
I want you to start just literally, if you can just create some type of meetup. Remember meetups? For DMV videographers.
For sure.
My suggestion, start there, right? We talk about the niche.
Yeah.
Something, when you talk community, I think when you talk community, you have to actually start small.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
I think you create something with DMV videographers.
Yes.
And y'all meet up. You got a Facebook group, whatever. I don't think you monetize it yet.
Yeah.
And you figure out a cadence. Because I've seen your content. You're starting. I see you share the nuggets, and I'm like, look at my man, Jabari sharing the little nuggets.
It's Emmy.
I love it. It is. You're such a great guy. You're such a great person.
Appreciate that.
Start that community, and maybe it's videographers, and maybe it's audio.
Yeah.
Right, and then bam, and then build from there.
For sure.
I think community is the way to go.
Yeah.
Right, as we're looking to 2023 and 2024.
Yeah.
2020 to 2022 was the year, the world of the courses, right? Because people were home and they had nothing to do. But now people are back outside. They want to be with like-minded people. Our Mompreneur is our community. And I'm thinking about, how do we make this bigger? But I'm going to be real. Everybody, you can't sit with us. I'm sorry. Like I like to curate who is around me, right? But community, because we're so inundated with everybody's shit.
Yeah.
So we need a real place to go
to
actually be able to actually have real conversations.
Yeah, and like
right?
I definitely wanted to be curated because I feel like I again, no shade. I don't want to say no names, but I've been to like similar, and it's like it reminds me of like high school. It's like the folks that again are on that pedestal who aren't really what I'm saying. They're not really them. You know what I'm saying? They're not really him or her. They just are upholding an image, and it's like. So it's like, I want this to be honestly like a safe place. Like I want us to talk about like that bad client or that gig or that gig that that was like their big paycheck and they didn't get it and like how they coped through that. Like I want it to be like that and again like support each other, really empower people. Like I love like empowering and reminding people of how great they are. Like you're great, Patrice. I really appreciate you. Everybody in this room.
All right, now, y'all, don't forget to connect with Shades of Content on Instagram at Shades of Content and with me, Patrice Camo, at Patrice Camo. And also be sure to rate this show, leave a review, and subscribe because that's actually the only way that we're going to grow. I'll see you next week.